All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another episode. I know it's been a while, so it's only right we come back with a very special guest. Somebody that I looked up to in the basketball world, coming up from around the way, a very solid guard. Everybody knows his name, everybody knows his game. Just one word, just royalty. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
Of high pedigree. You know what I'm saying? But just a guy that just been a good guy overall, just a great person, great coach that he developed too, which we'll get to all of that, man. But I just wanted to let y'all know, man, we back with the next episode with none other than Damien Jenifer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me.
Oh man, had to have you, bro. Had to have you on, bro.
I
No
appreciate
question.
you having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Man, first question, man, I always like to start off with is just, the well-being, how you doing, how's everything going?
Man, I can't complain, man. When nobody listen anyway.
Right.
Everything good, man. I'm blessed. I'm healthy. Family good. Got a job in this climate. Running a business. Doing some real estate stuff. So, I ain't got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing that I noticed that you started to attack was the real estate. What was it that drew your interest to the real estate?
To be honest, I've always been intrigued by it. You see these house flipping shows and how much money they make and stuff like that and how quick it is. But, taking that risk is something different. So it took me a while. And, during the pandemic, I couldn't train as much. So gyms weren't available. So, I was just start thinking like, I really got to think about a different stream of income. And so, I had more time, if I had to read, books and stuff like that, or I know they say you got to be there to, see the project, talk to the contractors and stuff like that. So I took a risk and I jumped out there during the pandemic during this 2020. And flipped the house. It took me forever, but I flipped the house. And things been rolling ever since. So I learned a lot from it. And just been using those lessons that I, learned that first flip. And it's been carrying me on.
Has you always had that kind of like entrepreneurial type of spirit? Because, obviously you do the training as well. Shout out to First Choice.
Appreciate you.
Have you always had that entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, I mean, probably like most of us, we grew up, we was dependent on a lot of, different people. And, my mom, she ain't have a whole lot. So, I think we all aspire to try to do a little bit better. I grew up around a lot of people in my family that, had a hustler's mentality. So I saw a lot of people, making, entrepreneurial moves. And then I had some people in my family on the other side of it that was out there in the streets. So, I had two sides of it, and I just had to figure out which side was best for me. But, I will say even the guys in my family that was in the streets, they, I think they saw something in me. They knew I probably wasn't a street guy, one, but so they kind of pushed me away from that. And, you grow up in a certain neighborhood, it's like, what you gonna do? You gotta make a decision. So whenever I made that decision to kind of go on the right path, so.
A lot of times when you look at a lot of the interviews that I've done, it's not really been a lot of families with the kind of pedigree that you kind of had. If people are kind of unfamiliar with your background, if you can kind of talk about your upbringing as far as from a sports perspective. Was it always basketball, or was it kind of
you played any other sports?
Yeah.
Growing up, like during my time, you played everything because you played a lot in the neighborhood. So growing up, I was neighborhood basketball, neighborhood football, and then as I got a little bit older, I had to figure out which one I wanted to do. My mom, she worked a lot, so she didn't have a whole lot. So football costed a lot. Equipment, registration fees, stuff like that, and basketball was cheap. So, so I didn't really delve that much into the football, even though a lot of people in my neighborhood, they played from a young age all the way up until they went to high school. So basketball, that's why I kind of leaned towards more basketball than football. Mm-hmm. Baseball was the neighborhood thing, never really got too much into that, but basketball was cheap. Yeah. Go outside and just hoop.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Brothers, sisters, how many did you have?
I got 5 brothers.
Five brothers?
Grew up in the same household with 2 other brothers. but 5 altogether. My father had, 3 other boys. I was, other than me, so he had 4 boys. My father's side was over in West Baltimore. My mother's side was kind of like East and Northeast Baltimore. So kind of grew up on both. But I lived with my mother over in Northeast Baltimore.
Okay.
Hence the first, program I played for was Gardenville.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay. So I got Trey here. Trey, obviously, is a different connection. He knows and is a part of your family.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And kind of talk about the things, like, I know you told me a story about when you were young and you would kind of hear about the Jenifers and
So,
kind of what you kind of knew about.
Probably because I was close too. Like, that's all I heard about. And me and Dane was talking earlier. I had to figure out which one it was because when I was a kid, and I'm a few years younger than Keefe, like as I was growing up, all I kept hearing about was the Jenifer at Bentlow. You know what I'm saying? Barbecuing people like
Right.
over at Bentlow, like
Yeah.
cooking. So I'm just like, okay. And my little cousin is related to Dane. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I was always close, and I'm just like, Dad, like. I just always heard the name from when I was a kid growing up, like as a child, like 7, 8. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just always knew the Jenifers who. That's what I knew.
And the reason why I asked that is because how was that to kind of grow up around it? Did you recognize, or how early did you recognize that you guys were kind of talented? Because all of your brothers, your cousins, seem to just be gifted with the basketball.
Basically, mainly it was all cousins. So none of my my brothers really. Other than one of my older brothers, he played sports, but he went the other route.
Right.
But it's all cousins, first cousins. So I start kind of figuring things out when people in my neighborhood was talking about Anton, and he didn't live in our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? As I started to get a little bit older, especially when I got to high school. When I was a 9th grader, obviously we had to play Walbrook, and some of the varsity guys, I was on JV at Mervo, some of the varsity guys was talking about Anton and how good he was, and I would go over on the weekends and sometimes go over St. Edwards, but a lot of times we 3 years apart, I wouldn't practice with that team. I would just shoot around and watch. So we never really played against each other. Obviously, like you gotta think when you're young, like it's a big difference when 9 and 6.
Definitely.
So and 12 and 9. So we never did anything against each other or really worked out. That wasn't really a thing. You practice with your coach and that was it. So. Not until really I got to 9th grade at Mervo and some of the varsity guys was just telling me about it. I was like, oh, all right. We talked about it, but we really when you're in with your family, it's Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Family reunion, we might shoot around or something like that, but I'm with the younger people and he with the older people. So, yeah, I didn't really know until I started hearing more about him when I got to high school. So he was kind of the staple of it. He started everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that something that you kind of, marveled your game after, or did you have like somebody that you particularly, outside of the pros? Obviously we got the pros and, especially in your era, you had a bunch of guards that you could have modeled your game after, but was it kind of like him or your family that kind of molded you?
Again, like back then you couldn't really watch people play unless you was there in person, right? So it wasn't like I could watch clips of him on Instagram or YouTube or stuff like that. So I kind of made my game against, with people I was around all the time, which was the guys I was growing up with. And I'm playing against, Kevin. I'm playing against other guys in my neighborhood that are pretty good. And I'm like, I got to keep up with them. I wasn't really worried about what he was doing over there. You know what I'm saying? So I was modeling my game, trying to get, form what type of game I was going to have just by like picking from different people. And, I cross street from me was Nut, so I would see Shantae Rogers playing a lot over Claremont. We played a lot in our neighborhood. People came with Mike King, all them dudes. It's a lot of dudes in my neighborhood that you probably wouldn't know about, but, they were all good. So we just played against each other. And then we would, as we started getting older, we would leave our neighborhood, go to different neighborhoods. We got a court in our neighborhood. It was Bonneview. So I grew up right across the street from Curly. So there's a court right there called Bonneview. They built it. I think they really built it because me and Kevin just was out there all the time. And we just was like, we need a court. And they finally just built the court around there. So it was cool. So people started coming to our neighborhood. And that's when you kind of could start kind of testing your game and seeing where you're really good. Because, in your neighborhood, you might be, I never was the best player in my neighborhood.
Who you think was?
Kevin Braswell. So I grew up, 3, 4, 5 minutes from walking distance from each other. So we had the court every day. It's like I never could be better than them.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing though in my eyes because I always had to like I had somebody to always play against.
Push me, man.
So we never was on the same team. It's like no, that's not fair. Y'all two pick.
The whole time.
So and I never could back up. I couldn't be like no, I don't want to be on this team.
Yeah.
Too much pride, even that young. So I just had to play against them all the time, and we would, most of the time we would lose.
Mm-hmm.
But if it lit something in me, and it was just always constantly, and not in a bad, but he was a year older than me, but I was always chasing him.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he went to high school, going to high school, he went to Lake Clifton. That's my neighborhood school, but I'm like, I can't go to Lake Clifton now. I can't go to Mervo, but it was a good opportunity because I kind of like got to myself and kind of started forming who I was going to be.
No.
And we wasn't really playing against each other that much because he was playing with Cecil.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started playing with Oliver, and they was traveling a lot. So I wouldn't see him in the summertime. They was going to Nike camps. I'm like, what the fuck is Nike camp?
Right.
But Cecil had the Nike deal, so they was the first to kind of get their guys out there. And I played for a guy, Bucky Lee. He was more so like, kind of had an independent mindset. Like, I don't need all them. I can get my guys, we can go play, we can beat them. So fortunately, a good thing, that's how he was, because I kind of picked up the mentality. But back then, I'm like, shit, I want Nikes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They would go, he would come back and talk about who they played against. I'm like, damn. Like, I heard about yo, I read about yo, but I would let it, because you couldn't really see guys play.
Mm-hmm.
You just read about them in magazines, shit like that, or somebody would play against them at a camp and they come back and tell you about them. Or, maybe the Charm City Classic or something like that. Teams come in town, you see them play with their high school team, but other than that, it was AAU wasn't that. It was one tournament down in Orlando, and if you saw dudes there, you saw dudes there, but other than that, it wasn't no Peach Jam and no shit like that, so.
Right. That was early. That was before the Peach Jam and everything.
It was really no tournament. I mean, you had Sunny Hill up in Philly.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Boo Williams thing maybe back then, but other than that, bro, it wasn't no travel to, a little bit, but not like they travel now. I think we value games more because of that. Like, you got the opportunity to go out of town, you like, shit, I don't know the next time I'm going out of town.
For sure.
Right. These kids going out of town, they 7, 8 years old, bro, every weekend.
Yes, definitely us.
So it's just different.
So you kind of spoke on AAU. What was your earliest exposure to AAU?
Again, it was rec ball.
So it was rec ball.
I started out at Gardenville.
Just Gardenville, okay.
The furthest we traveled was Philly. That was a thing called the Buzzleton Classic.
Right.
And, you get your name in the little book and shit like that. So that was like big. But, I played down Gardenville, and then from there, that's when I, went down Oliver.
Right. And that was kind of like your middle school going to high school type of time?
Yeah, because Bucky, I didn't get down Oliver till high school.
Kind of talk about, if you can for a minute, talk about Bucky Lee for a second, if you could.
Sure. The person, the coach,
the coach,
character.
I heard that name all my life.
Just your experience as because my only stories of him is when we played against him in a couple of AAU tournaments. He had manufactured a team or two, and I had never beat this team in my life.
Yeah,
until the semifinals of states when they played for Lake, and that's the only time I ever beat him in my life. So anytime I played the Bucky Lee team, I knew he was going to catch an L. I'm just going to say it now. I knew he was going to.
He was different, man. He, to be honest, he's the reason why. Like, that's my basketball why. The reason why I coach. The reason why I was successful at playing basketball. Honestly, I attribute it to him. I wasn't known. Like, I went to Mervo, they didn't recruit me. I made a JV team kind of off of like some of my guys in my neighborhood. They was on varsity, but back then it wasn't like you could just tell the coach to keep somebody. So I had to actually earn this shit in tryouts. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yo, you just gotta play hard. Just play hard. Daryl Wade, that's what he liked. You gotta play hard. You gotta play defense. You gotta dive on the floor. So I did that shit in trials for 2 days, 3 days, whatever it was, and I made the team. So like making the team and having to work, and again, you contribute all that shit back to growing up the way I did in that neighborhood where I'm like, shit, all right, whatever. I knew none of the dudes I was playing against was better than Kevin. I knew it. So I'm like, as long as I can get on the team, I'm good. Get on the team, end up starting. So then you go from there, After my freshman JV year, moved up the next year. I honestly didn't think I was moving up because it was like me, Melvin Bridges, Hugh Brown. We was all freshmen on JV, and there was a lot of back then JV you could have 11th graders. Mm-hmm. So we had 11th graders, 10th graders. Somehow we ended up playing a lot, and Woody Williams, who was the varsity coach, he must have saw something in us, and he was like, "I'm gonna move y'all up." Shit, I didn't want to move up. It was okay. I was okay with playing JV as a sophomore back then. That was normal. And then I played 2 years of varsity. I'm good. But he moved us up, and we struggled. Struggled a lot, man. Going down Southwest and Southern, Lake Clifton, and being young, playing against older guards, man, that shit was tough.
Yeah, the landscape at that time was really, really tough. Can you kind of
Northern.
Yeah, the matchups that you had, can you kind of talk about that?
Like the top guards from Mervo.
Shit, I couldn't really say Maryland because the top guys I played against was in the city.
Yeah, that's in the city.
Yeah, so when I'm young, I'm playing against Reggie Johnson. He a senior. I'm playing against Kevin Braswell, Juan Dixon, because before then he was at Lake Clifton. Mike King, Marlon Wise. I was young, so Emerson had good guards. Virgil Singleton. Every school, bro, like literally Carver. They had Nate over there. I'm just talking about when I was young because they had Mike too.
Right.
But I'm just talking about me being a younger guard playing against them dudes. Sometimes I was intimidated. Yeah. You had different type of environments. You go with Douglas. Fucking games was thick, bro. So and not being and lacking of a little bit of skill as well. Not just being smaller, and not being as good as I became. But I learned a lot.
Very quickly.
Yeah,
definitely.
Very quickly. So I kind of took those lessons, and I ended up going to camp that summer. And that changed everything.
That was kind of the wake up call for you.
I was like, if I want to do this shit, I gotta get better. And I would hear people talk about camps and shit like that. And I saw this pamphlet on Coach Woody's desk to 5-star. And I read that shit. I was like, he never gave it to me.
Right.
I read it and I was like, saw them fucking names on there. I'm like, well, if I just go up that motherfucker, I'll learn something.
Yeah. So
I took that shit home. My mother filled it out. So the 7-day camp was like, I think back then, like $285, $3-something, overnight camp. And they had like this backcourt camp that was like for like 3 days. And it was cheaper. So I'm like, Ma, I'm trying to go to 5-star. She's like, well, I can't afford that. I'm like, well, I can go to that one. It's only 3 days. She's like, well, see what you can do. But you're going to have to get up there on your own. So she paid for that shit. Got on a Greyhound. And went up that motherfucker on my own. I ain't know nobody. I had this Jewish kid was my roommate. It's the first time he had to be with somebody like that. He had a little yarmulke on his head. But I never saw him during the whole camp. We would just go off and do our own thing, come back at night. Talk, just talk a little bit, but I did really well. And the last day I was there, I went to Garfinkel and was like, yeah, Woody told me to tell you hi, Woody Williams. He's like, that's my guy. He's like, why you ain't come up to me the first day? I was like, I was scared. I was nervous. I don't know. I just wanted to just figure out where I was at. He was like, if you'd have told me, you could have stayed for the next week. I was like, I can stay. So I called my mother. She's like, you can stay. My mother, parents wasn't involved. She's like, you can stay for a couple more days. So I stayed. It's crazy because people was coming in. Like, it was just wild. I had to wait to get it was wild. So I stayed for the first 3 days and I had to leave. But the experience, man, it boosted my confidence. Like, I was like, shit. So I came back and, you get that orange shirt, that 5-star shirt. You wear that motherfucker. I was wearing that motherfucker everywhere I went. Craig Cromwell, I'm gonna put this motherfucker 5-star shirt on. I went down that motherfucker, I got better. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me a little bit of confidence going into my junior year. So, and Bucky was there for that year, and that's when Mo came. And then when Mo came, it was a puzzle that just fit.
Right. So that's a whole nother second. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Before we get there, because you spoke on it a little bit, but do you think that 5-star camp just kind of exposed you to what you could see in the world. Because before that, it was kind of like you might take a trip here to Philly to do a tournament or whatever, but to have a roommate, and not only any roommate, you had a Jewish roommate who had, you know what I mean, the demonstration and everything. So
absolutely, it kind of got me out of my shell a little bit, because I had to talk to people I didn't know. I had to like, it was either I'm gonna walk around these courts and not talk to nobody, or like I had to form some type of bond. So the dudes on my team, we got cool. Couple of the guards I was in drills with, I would go up, you know, you start seeing that people are kind of just like you. They kind of just waiting for you to say something. So it was one of those things, and we, you know, got to talk about our high schools a little bit. And so, you know, again, like from a confidence standpoint and breaking down those barriers and opening up my eyes, it was definitely a plus. Because again, like I did it on my own.
And I was ready to highlight that,
you know,
just
so
now.
Like I took that risk, and I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew it was going to help me.
And you're in 10th grade going to 11th grade doing this.
9th grade going to 10th
9th grade going to 10th grade and did this.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So again, like it helped me a little bit, you know, my sophomore year. But again, playing against older guys was just like, whoa. Yeah, it was like, whoa.
14 years old on a Greyhound.
Yeah.
Just hiking. Just
different times back then.
Definitely
Like,
different times back then. Yeah,
like,
definitely. But you wanted it though. That's the kind of what I wanted to kind of highlight. Like that's the want that you kind of have to have. If you want to have the pursuing of something, like you gotta want to get on that Greyhound at 14 and make it happen. Get out there and you almost extended your contract.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He got that 10 day. He got
But again, like the guys in my neighborhood was already going to camps. So it was just like, shit, I'm not getting invited, but I'm going to camp. So it's something I could talk about, something I could bring back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it not knowing, but then again, that was a motivator. You know, my man was motivating me, and he, you know, we probably was thinking, well, we play against each other a lot now, but the whole time I'm like, you know, that's the measuring stick, and that's who else better to have as a measuring stick than somebody like that. And I was blessed by that. So I would say I was looking at the dudes in my neighborhood, go back to that question, more so what my cousin was doing. Yeah.
Okay. So 10th grade is when you got moved up, and you said it was a struggle. Playing 10th grade on varsity is definitely something that's really tough. At what point did you almost throw in a towel? Because it happens. Did you want to have to go back down to JV? Or
certain games, yeah. Well, I was just like, start somebody else.
Get tired before I come in.
Out there, like, you know. But you know, towards the end of the year, I feel like I mean, because again, like I'm playing with some seniors, and I feel like I'm letting them down. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck, man, like I can't be the dude that turn the ball over in a crucial moment. So, you know, in that aspect, you know, I felt like, again, going forward, I'm like, this shit not gonna keep happening. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, honestly, like when you get somebody like Marcus Hatton, it's like, damn, I got some help. You know what I'm saying? And we played together down Loyola, so it was like we up there. Then we you know, back then, you know, you hanging out after school. You know, we going over to somebody's house. Usually we go to my man Hugh's house, live down the hill, chill there, and then go to practice. So we spending all this time together, not knowing we building a bond, but we just hanging out. Things we just we play together. We played at high school together. We played down Oliver together. So it was just more so. This what you do, but not knowing these same people I'm still hanging out with today.
Can you kind of describe Oliver Rec? Not kind of, but I'm pretty sure you
like
can.
A concrete floor with tile. Out of bounds is the wall. Green and white writing on the walls. Oliver real big. Big ass square backboards. I think that's the first place I got a dunk. So I mean, it taught me a lot, man. It wasn't my neighborhood, but they embraced me. You know what I'm saying? Because I just was down there so much, and a lot of the dudes from the neighborhood played in Oliver. So, you know, Jelani Wise, rest in peace, Denard Ellison, just a lot of them dudes, man. So they was cool with the dudes in the neighborhood, so they would always be like, nah, that's my guy.
And back then they gave hoopers and
passes,
that had
honestly,
stuff
like
going on, passes.
Yeah, because sometimes we had to catch the bus home from down that motherfucker, so the niggas would walk us to the, you know, bus stop, chill with us till the bus came, make sure we was good. Then after a while, it's like, again, like you got a basketball in your hand, usually ain't nobody gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so.
That's a different time. I mean, well, I'm not gonna say. I mean, because now
Should
you
be that way now.
now you look at it. Some of these dudes that have the basketball still is toting. I mean, they still.
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't want. I mean, they battling some shit like
Yeah.
that. The neighborhood wanna, and also you know their peers are not like, yo, no, go hoop.
Yep.
Like we do this, so we ain't gonna bring this to you. They just all co-mingling all that shit together now. So I just feel like everybody following now, man. Like it's nobody really leading. So it's like if I'm like, yo, come with me, go over here. Even though I know I play, I got a game tomorrow, I'm gonna go. You know, so I think that's kind of the difference. Like he said, like they protected you back then. They made sure if they cared about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there was repercussions for shit like that. Like, you know, if I go do something and I get in trouble, and my family is like, yo, you know he not really like that. Why would you take him with you? They gonna deal with that.
absolutely.
So I know for me, wasn't nobody doing that with me. So I was fortunate in that aspect. But yeah, man, it's tough for kids today, man, because the choices are limited, and a lot of times the choices that are glorified are the bad ones, the wrong ones. So.
Okay, so you get through that 10th grade time. By now you've kind of developed a lot more in your brain. You got the confidence, and you've been exposed to different basketball outside of the city.
Right.
And you start to get your feet on the ground in this 11th grade. And now you said Mo joins the team now. Mo Hatton, for those that don't know, was also a very talented basketball player. But from your words, can you kind of describe what that meant for you and how you guys developed the relationship on the court? Because as you said, you guys didn't play before, like on the same team up until that point, right?
He said he played down Oliver.
Down Oliver. I mean, you know
Yeah.
how certain teams play against other teams. And so like he was younger. He played on a younger team, so
Right.
sometimes we would scrimmage them, but we would scrimmage the older team sometimes. So not that much. So yeah, when he came, it was just like, all right, he gonna be down Oliver. He's playing down there now, not just kind of like playing for this team and that team. I mean, it was somebody that I could play against every day that was talented. And I feel like my whole career I was blessed to either, you know, play with good guards or play against really good guards to challenge me. So yeah, playing against him every day in school, down there, and even though he was kind of younger, you know, him pushing me, you know, it was a plus, man. It helped me take my game to a whole other level. So again, it's one of them things where it's like I'm not gonna be playing against a lot of people like him, playing against a lot of people like Mo.
Right.
You know, you go into games and you like, so instead of me and him playing with each other every day, we played against each other in drills. We played against each other when we scrimmaged. I had my team, he had his team, then we would come together. So, you know, that always kept our competitive spirits high, and it helped us get better. So again, in turn, then you playing against guys. Now you're getting a little older. I'm a junior. I might be playing some dudes that might be younger than me. I might be playing some dudes that's just my age or a year older. The gap is not that big. Now I can compete. Then I'm getting better. We beating teams that we never beat before, you know. Then you start feeling a little confident, like, man, this boys can't play me. You know what I'm saying? And the tough games that used to be tough, they were still tough games, but I'm doing well in these games. You know, I'm making a name for myself. I'm scoring 18 points, 19 here. And it was, you know, it was a consistent thing. So that's kind of when I knew I was like, and then you get people talking to you more, you get more attention, you get more write-ups. So, you know, but, you know, you start kind of being more confident, but I was around a person that just told you how bad you was all the time, Bucky. So he kept you humble. There's you could never, all of us. I remember one time I scored 33 against Poly. It was like, yeah, you could have had 38 if you'd have made your free throws. And I was just like, damn, like, this is the next morning. We had practice Saturday morning, picked me up, and he was like, we talking in the car, and he said that shit. I was like, damn, bro, that's my best game and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Ken, it couldn't get you high. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the paper like, fuck, man, there you go.
Yeah.
Next.
That's crazy.
So,
but that's a good thing though, man. I mean, honestly, it didn't seem like you had a overwhelming ego at that time anyway. But it's good that he was also pushing you to just make sure you stayed even keel, even at your best moment. I mean, that's priceless right there.
I think one of the things for him, the reason why too, is because when he got me, I wasn't that good.
So you see
like,
him
motherfucker, don't play.
Yeah, remember you had that
Don't play.
ride, yeah.
So around that time, going my 11th grade year, that's when I was old enough to kind of like move around on my own. That's when I started going over West Baltimore on my own. And that's when I started, being more affiliated with St. Edwards. So I would play with St. Edwards more. I would like follow their they had like a summer league team, unlimited team, and I would just kind of go around with them and just sit on the bench, play some games, watch, then go back to the gym. We worked out a lot. That's when me and Mike formed Al Bond. Mike grew up in the gym. He lived in that motherfucker with Pierre. Pierre, the gym is right across the street from my aunt's house. That's where Anton lived at. So summertimes and when I could drive, I would just go over there and just stay. Walk across the street, Mike there, Pierre there, everybody from the neighborhood be there. So that's how I became like West Baltimore. So I would just kind of stay over there when I was older. It wasn't nothing that, I ain't go outside around my neighborhood anymore. I was too old. So everything was about basketball. I was down Oliver. I was over there with them, St. Edwards. So basketball just became everything. My junior going, obviously. So that's when I really started getting better. Like Pierre was more of a guy that would be like, let's work out. Bucky more so, do these drills. We gonna coach. I'm gonna coach you a certain way. But Pierre kind of instilled the guard skills that I kind of need to take off. One-on-one, being smart with the ball. That's when I kind of started watching Anton a little bit more. I saw how he played the game, different paces, how he made that scoring shit look easy. And he never exerted a lot of energy doing it. It was get to the line, get a layup, they back off, knock the three down. So he just kept it basic and fucking end up with 40. So I'm just watching all this shit just kind of form my game, and then I kind of got athletic. So that kind of added to my game a lot more than what they kind of had. So it kind of took me off to a whole nother level as well.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's. I mean, it's funny because you kind of beat me to the question, but I was gonna ask you, what did you kind of change that got your development to another level? Was it more so the playing pickup, or was it the skill training? Which one?
I think it was a mix of everything.
So just playing. Period.
Everything, playing, working out. Me and Mike, we would just hoop, bro, one-on-one. Games be at 12 at midnight, 12. Not because, again, I'm over there. I'm over my aunt's house. Summertime. We might have games during the day. Work out a little bit. And at night we just chilling. So it's a gym. We are chilling in a gym on a stage in a room. TV, couch in there, niggas coming in, coming out from the neighborhood. Niggas drop in, Anton drop me, you good? I'm like, we chilling. Go in there, work out for an hour and a half. Go to my house, go to bed, come back over there next day, chill all day. Go to games. Anton might have a game. Me and Mike might say that was, 17 under team might have a game. But I was kind of I would never, if Oliver had a game or a team in the same thing that St. Edwards was playing, I would always play with Oliver. Always. Anything, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Everything that, St. Edwards was playing, it was more so men's league, Lyndhurst, Evergreen, outside shit, you know what I'm saying? So I would kind of do all that hood shit with them. And then, Bucky was the BNB, I was the project, the AAU, shit like that.
Well, that's good, man. That's a hell of a plan, a hell of a routine.
Yeah. So I just basketball, and that's, again, just being engulfed and all that shit. That's what helped me go into my senior year. Had the senior year that I had.
Senior year. I mean, did you? The doors is open. I mean, you just ready to go now that the confidence is at all time high. But did you recognize and did you have a want to go to college? And how was the kind of the makeup for that? Did you have a?
Going to my senior, I'll say that before we go there, I was talking about the summer before that. I killed that shit, bro. Everything. AAU, local AAU, because our local AAU was tough. It was thick. You know what I'm saying? We playing against Cecil. I think Bentlow had a team in it. So you had to win here to go away. So shit, playing here, that was it for me. I mean, that was how I'm gonna fuck everybody up. So that's when I kind of had my I had coming out parties when I was my junior year. We beat Dunbar. That was the first time we ever beat Dunbar at Dunbar. So that was kind of all right. But that summer, everybody I played against, we either just went like this or I outplayed. So going into my senior year, that's when I was just like, and me and Mo played together. That previous year, that whole summer, that fall, we still was working out. So it was just like we kind of knew we was gonna be good, but we didn't know how good.
Who was it anybody that you was looking for that summer, going into that summer? Like, did you want to see anybody just in specific? Like, they talk about him a little too much. I gotta go kill him because I don't like how they talk about him. They should be.
Like,
I feel like
on your hit list?
I need a little bit of love over here. You know what I'm saying? Or was it just a situation? Because I asked Devin the same question, and Devin said just pretty much everybody from the standpoint of his name wasn't high on the map. So it was like more or less, I gotta go get everybody. But some people get kind of specific. You know what I mean?
Nah, it wasn't specific. It was everybody.
That's everybody.
Yeah, it was everybody because nobody was talking about me. So once all people start talking about me, I'm like, I like this shit. Seriously. So, and I felt like I was better than a lot of dudes. So it was more so just going out there and playing. And that summer, that AAU shit and that state AAU shit, I killed it. And I was like, yeah. So then going into my senior year, I've already played against most of these dudes. I think I'm better than most of these dudes. That's the first thing. If you're gonna be better than them, you gotta think that you're better than them. So again, my confidence is all the time high. And then again, you add, now we flip that around. I might be playing against some sophomores or some juniors. And I'm gonna treat them like I got treated. So that's how I went into the whole year. If we play against some niggas that's not good, we fucking them up.
Yeah.
They young, we fucking them up. If they good, we already better than them. So we just gotta make sure we do what we supposed to do. And we're out playing. If I didn't have a great game, Mo would have a great game. You was in trouble if we both had great games.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, barbecue.
So that was a good amount of time. We both would just be out there. Like people think I'll be playing when I talk about that. We talking about
what was we left
Mo
on?
Hatton and him having a great game
No,
on the
yeah,
same day.
that's what I want to ask. What was the most memorable game from that year? Because both of you guys, like I said, the amount of talent that was in that back court, I don't think people could kind of understand. Like you
2
got
years together or one?
we had 2 years.
2 years together.
Yeah.
Junior and senior year.
My junior and senior year. He had 1 year without me.
Gotcha.
One game.
because it's always. I mean, it's from.
I would say in the playoffs. I mean, I think, yeah, we had one game. It was like a Christmas tournament. I think he had a game-winning shot. It was up Douglas. I think it was against Douglas. Chucky had a great game. Keemy had a great game. It was one of them games, back and forth, back and forth. I had a great game. Mo had a good game. And he hit a game-winning shot. And I think we won the tournament. And I think that game right there was like, because we wasn't ranked to start the year. My senior year, we wasn't even top 20 in the Sun. So we just had to fuck people up. We just ran through shit, and then we had this mayor's tournament. It was like the 100 Black Men tournament they used to have up Coppin State. So we went up there and we played Randallstown. We supposed to play, Damon Brown was supposed to play. Because Randallstown was really good that year. I think it was like, they started the year like second. And it's crazy. I think we played on a Saturday. We were supposed to play on a Friday or something like that. And like that Wednesday or Tuesday, Yo broke his hand. Playing against Prairie Hall, trying to dunk the ball or something. Like ripped his hand and shit like that. So we was looking forward to that game because it was supposed to have been a really good game. But we ended up beating them. They were still good. But we beat them, and that was another game where it was like they was ranked high. And I think that's when we first got ranked. And then we just started running off shit. Just kind of ran through the city. We lost it that year. We lost to Northwestern in one of them games where it was like we just kind of got too high. But other than that, like we beat Lake Clifton 3 times. I think we beat Southern twice. They beat us once. I'm just talking about the bigger teams. Southwestern, I think we beat them twice. So the teams that was fucking us up or beat me basically my whole high school career, we was just like, not running through them, but we was beating them.
Oh, for sure. You got to go back and get all that get back.
Yeah, so it was a lot of get back.
Yeah.
A lot of get back. So, yeah, so man, we had a great regular season. Then, went to the playoffs, had a tough playoff run. I think our first round was against Lake Clifton.
Again, was that the third one?
The third one.
Yeah.
It was up at L School. Beat them. Close game. I think we won by like 2. Hit some free throws at the end of the game. Beat them. Then we had to play Southern. They had Charles Scott.
Yeah.
I think Melvin was young. I think Melvin was like a sophomore. Melvin Scott was a sophomore at the time. But they had Zeke, Isaiah Johnson. They had some good. They was good. They was top. So we beat them. And then we had to play Patterson up Poly for the regional championship. Beat Patterson up Poly. They was good. They had my man Doug on the team. They had Kwame. They was really good. Beat them. And that's when we went to, that's when we went down to Mervo. I mean, they went down to Mervo.
Cold field house back then? Is that what it was? Still cold field house.
How did that feel to go down cold, man? That was
Man, you know, for the career that I had, it was like the word. It was that climax. Like it was like the climax of everything. Like we made this motherfucker. Like all that shit from the 9th grade losing. Playing JV, winning, sophomore year losing, just that whole journey going to camp and all that shit. Getting there, you're like, damn, like this shit worked. You know what I'm saying? And I started getting interest, you know, from certain schools kind of leading up into the whole Maryland thing. Because before that, I was Division III. And I kind of was stuck on going to junior college. Like, so I committed to Allegheny. You know, that's the time Steve Francis was there. So I'm like, shit, if I'm going to go JUCO, I'm going to go somewhere that's big. So I kind of was like, I went up there to visit. Went up there to talk to the coaches, everything. I was kind of like, all right, I'm cool with that. And then we go to States. Played well. The coach, Daryl Brooks, like we tight to this day. He was the assistant coach at Loyola.
Yes.
And we played Oxon Hill. And Oxon Hill had a guard. I don't know who it was, but he said, yo, I came here to watch him. So I'm about to offer you though. So I had like 28 the game, the semifinals game. We lost though. Lost to a tough Oxon Hill team. They had Mike Sweeten.
Might be sweet.
Was it Phil Goss that was at the point?
I believe so. I don't know. I believe so. I just remember Mike Sweetney, bro.
Yeah, that for sure. Big Sweet was crazy at the time.
So, I mean, you know, that's the first time we ever played. We played in Baltimore City. That's the first time we played against a center.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, it's pro.
A true center.
A real center.
Yeah, that motherfucker, it was just a neutralizer. I don't give a what type of guard you got. So it was just, we kind of like ran out of gas. But, you know, I put everything out there. So we lost to a really good team. So he offered me kind of like that next week. But I was kind of still stuck on the Allegheny shit. Like, bro, I want to go to Maryland. I want to go to like a big school.
Yeah.
And my mother was like, bro, you fucking tripping. Straight like that. Like, in other words, she was like, you lost your fucking mind. You will sign this scholarship. You will go to Loyola. And I'm like, bro, I don't know about this shit. Like, it's different. You know, it's a predominantly white school. You know, I grew up the way I grew up. So it was like, I went up there, and again, I got that. That's like April, May. So it's late.
Really?
So I went on my visit. They was on spring break. Nobody on campus. So it was quiet. I'm like, ain't too bad. It's pretty as shit up this motherfucker. So players, a lot of players wasn't there. So I was just kind of doing it on a whim. Like, fuck it, all right. So I went up there in the summertime and hooped against them. That was the first time I saw the players they had. I was like, all right, maybe. You know what I'm saying? They had Jason Rowe. So the guard that starting point guard they had, Jason Rowe, was really, really, really good. He was all MAC, everything. But I grew up a certain way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's no different than my man Cad. It's no different than playing against Mo. It's no different than playing against Mike every day.
Yeah.
So it was like all that shit, playing against them guards when I was young. And they was old and beat me up. Going through the shit I went through, I was ready.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even about Jason Rose, all them other guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I ended up starting as a freshman. So yeah, I mean, so I went from not even being recruited to go to Loyola to going there and first game of the season starting.
Can you kind of talk about the transition? Like you said, but a second ago, was a little bit of a difference, like just culture-wise, obviously, because you're coming from a certain sector of Baltimore, and this is, it's still in Baltimore.
I didn't even know it was there, bro.
I was about to say that, bro.
And how far was this from
if
exactly
you ain't
where
never
you grew
been
up?
there, you might not know it's there, bro.
Just say this. Cold Spring and Helen Road. Cold Spring is Helen Road, that's Morgan. Cold Spring goes straight 10 minutes. Loyola is on Cold Spring. My high school is 5 minutes from Morgan State. So my high school is on Helen Road in Cold Spring. I never even knew the school was there.
That's crazy.
So it's 10 minutes from my high school, probably 20 minutes from where I grew up at and lived at. So it was just different, man. And I went up there and it was just like, it was a culture shock.
That's wild.
Big time culture
20
shock.
minutes away.
Yeah, it was a big time culture shock. Not just even the fact that it was just like, you know, another culture that was just like predominantly there. It was more so academically. It was a big shock.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, cause Loyola's not like a subpar school. You gotta get your work done. You have to get your stuff done there. So
if I ain't played basketball, I probably wouldn't have went there. But I was there.
Yeah, and
I had to figure it. I mean, it was either like I never forget my first like week in school. I had creative writing, which is like a intro English class. And they like, bro, right? You gotta write a 1-page essay, and I'm like, bro, I ain't even know how to font that motherfucker. Double space. I never typed in high school because I went to Mervo, so it's low tech school. Yeah. So you spend like 3 hours in your trade. The other 3, you doing other shit. You know what I'm saying? So I never wrote a paper. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, I ain't gonna write it. Like, I'm gonna see what this college shit really about. Right. And my teacher, she gave me that grade, and then my coaches called me. It's like, yo, what's up? Why didn't you do the paper? Like, do we gotta get you a tutor? And I'm like, yeah, I need some help. And even with that, I kind of ain't really asked for like the help that I needed. I still was trying to like figure that shit out. But until I asked for help is when I start like, you know, doing a little bit better. Because I ain't know how to learn.
Right.
I didn't know how to read, honestly. Well, I knew how to read. I didn't know how to read and comprehend. So I would read these fucking novels and shit and then be like, the fuck did I just read? You know what I'm saying? So I had to really, like, when I went to college is when I really learned how to learn how to read and, like, note take. And I had a tutor that helped me with all that shit. I had, you know, study hall. Luckily, they had a great system that they put in place for people like me. So the support was there all throughout that shit. I needed it too, all the way prior to my senior years when I really was like, oh, all right, I got it. Yeah. But up until then, man, it was just basketball, you know, trying to, you know, juggle the academic stuff with that, and also still having a little social life, but also being in Baltimore. Yeah. With my friends wanting to come up there and hang out and see that shit. So I'm one of them people, like, if I'm experiencing something, I want my closest friends to experience that shit too. So anything that was going on, if I, you know, certain you know, friends.
Oh, you can invite everybody.
Yeah, I couldn't invite everybody to everything. So, you know, I had my core group of friends, you know, the ones I played high school ball with, you know, shit like that. So they was home or living in Baltimore. So come on, yo, they come to my games. You know, I got a full meal plan, bro. What y'all want to eat? Right. You know, y'all stay here. We going to this party. We going, you know, summertime. I'm taking them with me to go to beach houses in New Jersey and shit like that because I want them to experience that shit. Was new for me, so I wanted them to experience that shit too. So I kept my niggas with me through my whole, you know, college experience, and not like it was. My guys wasn't like that. They was cool dudes. They wasn't into no, you know, we had our fun, but. You know, it wasn't no street niggas up there with me, not like that.
It wasn't in the way. Just stayed out the way.
They came to my games. But they wasn't on campus with me chilling.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm just saying? So, yeah.
Now, basketball-wise, was that a more of an adjustment? Because, you know, how you think you work out in high school or whatever, college. Even just preparing for that. Once you get there, that workouts.
It's totally different, man. Like, and my will was the reason why I ended up being good in college. That shit was so hard. Conditioning. I mean, it's just the, you know, the rigor of it, lifting, and I just kind of fell in love with this shit. But definitely, totally different than high school. Everybody good. You know, you get there, you read that media guy, everybody averaged 23, 24 in high school, play the district, shit like that. So you don't know until you actually get out there and practice against somebody every day how good they are. And like sometimes, you know, me growing up the way I grew up and the environment I grew up in, I would will certain shit. Like, I'm like, if I gotta fight this motherfucker, like, we gonna fight. And if I gotta intimidate you by doing that shit, that's how I grew up playing. And I would do that shit. I'm doing that shit to niggas that's like 6'10". I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But I don't know how to back down from nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that mentality helped me. I mean, I started all 4 years, so, you know, I wasn't the greatest player up there, but I found a way to start every year and make an impact in every game I played. You know, I ended up finishing top 5 in assists, top 5 in steals. And again, high school, I could just score. You know, I did all the other stuff too, but you realize like when you get to college, you play a role.
Right, niche.
You know, and I sometimes would fight it because you always think I can still do that shit I was doing in high school, but in all actuality, like it's a whole different type of system. Like I'm a point guard, I'm running stuff, I'm making sure everybody. I just can't take people. I can't just be like call a play and just go by somebody because I'm better than them. Everybody good, so you gotta evolve your game. So that's why I was really good at. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna be one of these guys that guard the ball well. You know, I'm gonna make sure we run out stuff. You know, I'm not gonna turn the ball over. Once you learn, like, if you turn that motherfucker over, you're not gonna play. So you start taking the things that your coaches want, and that's what keep you on the court. And that's what kept me on the court. Even though I think the most I averaged my whole career each year probably was like 12 my sophomore year. Other than that, it was like 10 and 9. So, you go from averaging, scoring all these points in high school to be like, damn, like, I can't get up, like, it's not like that. It's a total different game. So you gotta evolve.
Do you think, because now just thinking about it and hearing the story, because my opinion for you as a basketball player, you're one of the smartest players that I played against, like, ever, period.
Appreciate that.
But for me, like, looking at and listening to the story, all that basketball you watched, all the basketball you played on this side of town and that side of town, then you went here to this camp on your own, and you had to digest it so fast, and then you come back and it's like you digested the game and went out there and exhibited it so fast. Do you think that kind of like having that IQ is what kind of set you apart from everything and made you start for all those 4 years? Was it you think it was the IQ?
I think
is
so.
That where it started?
Thinking back now, I was becoming a coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, before it was happening type of situation.
Because I never was like, again, like I always was trying to get better.
Yeah.
So I was always trying to learn.
Yeah.
So whoever I would get around, I would just be listen. You know what I'm saying? I feel like now, especially like comparing that to the day, like so many people are talking, so many people are telling kids everything that they don't take anything. It's just like, oh, I got you. Next person, I got you. I think back then you valued that. So anytime I would, like when I played for Bucky, I was like, I'm playing for Bucky. I wasn't like, so every time he cussed me the fuck out, I wasn't like, I'm leaving. I'm like, at least he talking to me. You know what I'm saying? He cussed me out, especially like when I first started playing with him, it was just like, what? I was playing for some white dudes at Gardenville that ain't really know what the fuck they was doing. And then I come there and it was just like a fucking shockwave. It's like, shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, like do this and you gonna do it that way. And it's like, what? But you see everybody else around there doing it and they good. So it's just like, you shut the fuck up. You do what they tell you to do. And as long as, like, I was with him, so he was like keeping me with him. I'm like, so I gotta be doing something right. You know, so he could have any of these motherfuckers with him. He coached Dante Bright, Mike, oh Lord, I'm like, you know, I'm driving around with him. He introduced me to all these dudes. I'm like, yo, at least he saw something in me. I don't know what it was, but he saw something in me to take, you know, that chance and kind of put me under his wing. It's unfortunate that, like, when I got to college, that's when he, like, got sick. So he could never really see me playing college. But also, like, I think some of the decisions I'd have made in college, you know, I'd have consulted with him. You know, I had 2 different coaching staffs in college. I think I probably would have transferred, you know, but never here and there. But, you know, I wish he could have saw me play more in college. But the impact that he had on me from the small time that we was together, that shit, it had the biggest basketball impact on my life. For sure.
Yeah, man, like I said, it all makes sense now. Like, because I always formulated that thought, like, bro, it's like, even playing at your age, it's not like you super old, but it's like playing at your age and playing at the level that you were playing at. You gotta kind of be smart to do this. And it's not like you're in bad shape either. Like, you stay in good shape and all that, but that's good to know that, well, now I know where it started, but.
I played for some good coaches, man.
I
was blessed to play for some teachers that taught you the game and held you accountable, you know, was and told you the truth, man. And unfortunately, today, that's how I coach. And I say unfortunately because it's almost it makes conflict. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of kids are not coached that way today. So, you know, I do adjust. You know, but it's tough sometimes because I'm passionate about what I do, and I want to see every kid be great. You know what I'm saying? So when I know what it, you know, like, yo, you have, if you work, I'm telling you, like, this shit, it'll pan out. So when you see kids kind of like not pushing themselves and not like working to the full ability, and they have the opportunity, is so much opportunity now. So you just like, it pisses you off, you know, it because it's so much more opportunity now, and the kids take it for granted. Yeah. Man, so.
Started off 4 years at Loyola. Mm-hmm. What was your toughest matchup at team-wise and then individually?
Man, it was some good guards in that conference, man. Iona was good all the time. Mm-hmm. Manhattan was good. They always had good guards. Siena, there's a dude up there named Scott Knapp, was really fucking good. Mm-hmm. Myers had a really good point guard. His name was Sean Kennedy. He actually played in the NBA a little bit. White boy could fucking play, bro. Mm. Could play. He averaged like 8 assists his career at Myers. Mm. Yeah, he was tough. Ryder, I mean, every year, you know, Niagara would always have good guards. They had this guard Daryl Green. He actually coached at the Mather before. He played at the Mather. He coached at the Mather recently. He trained, but he kind of in the area. But Daryl Green was tough. Lefty, you know. I never heard of him in high school, obviously, because they had Forte and Keith Bogans. So he was kind of like the third guard.
Of that whole bunch.
I'm not sure, bro, because he was tough and shot him out.
Right.
But I don't even. He might have even came off the bench for that team. But you know, I grew up. It was like you had your starting five. The Math and them type of schools, they had like a program.
I was like, ask you about like that high school, like more so like Baltimore City School. Did y'all get to see, like, I know you said y'all played Oxon Hill, and that was the first time y'all seen a center like that. Like, did y'all get to play like
we didn't
PG County schools? You get what I mean? Like
in the beginning of the year, we played Central.
Okay.
That was when they beat us in the beginning of the year, and we just was kind of trying to figure things out. But they was good. But they was from PG.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? So you think about, I think we had 4 losses my senior year, and 2 of them was from PG schools, Oxon Hill and Central. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we never really like played it. We maybe like scrimmage a team like that, but like nah. I mean, honestly, we was thinking about Lake Clifton.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I got you. We was worried about the city schools, right?
Southwestern, and that, you know what I'm saying? We were worried about that shit. We looking at our schedule, and not like in that mindset again, because we ain't travel that much.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not looking at our schedule like, wow, we ain't going nowhere. I'm just like, all right, we play Southern this day.
That's what we got. Play
them on this Friday night. Like, it's like, so it was more so you wanted to be bad. You wanted to be really, really good in your area.
Yeah.
Because it was so tough to be really good in your area. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now these kids is talking about whoever in New Jersey, New York, like, I gotta be better than him. Like, I was trying to be better nigga in my neighborhood.
First.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing about all that.
First.
Like, I get that, but like, nigga around the corner, you can't hide from that shit, bro.
Every day you outside waiting for
like, you can't. Like, nigga, we grew up, the first thing we played on was the monkey bars.
Yeah.
The first thing with the low ball. We was young, shooting on the middle joint. Nigga, Kevin would put nets on that motherfucker, bro. Niggas was hawks, they didn't even know it.
That's crazy.
Ain't even know it, bro. Again, like, we got that court built, bro.
Yeah.
That shit was up, bro. It got built in the summertime. The first winter we had that motherfucker, we played on that court. We shoveled the fucking free throw line, bro. The free throw area, and then went in the house. Because we was like, yo, we gotta get out there, bitch, some shots. Couldn't get no shots. It was cold as a motherfucker, tired. Kevin mother was like, yo, come on in this motherfucker, give us a pizza or something, like.
Yeah.
But that was our mindset, bro. And like, I'm around that shit. Like, I don't know if it pretty much was him because he was older, but that's the people, that's your friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what your friends are doing. So instead of my friends trying to figure out how they gonna sell this drug or go fuck with these girls, we was literally all about ball, bro. Mm-hmm. All about ball.
Probably saved your life. I mean, not probably.
No, it did.
Most likely.
Basketball definitely saved my life.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, what else would I have done?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? My mother wasn't home a lot because she was working. She was trying to go to school, like shit like that. Like, so I could have just been outside.
Yeah, and that in itself.
Instead, I'm at practice. You know, I get dropped off. I'm tired.
Too tired to get outside.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like I go outside. Most people in my neighborhood play sports. So, you know, nobody was really on corners and shit like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, in that aspect, I was blessed.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Post college plans, did you have a plan laid out? Did you have it formulated?
Yeah, I signed
what you wanted
with
to
an agency. Played, went to some camps. Did pretty well. Had like this little situation where my cousin, that it wasn't even involved in basketball, his best friend coached in Germany, and he was like, "Look, just come over. You can work some camps. Just kind of work out with the team. I can get you a deal like that." And I'm like, "All right, fuck it." So I went over there. I was over there for like 3 months. Did some stuff over there. Then I came back, and then I was supposed to go to Australia the next year. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gearing up for that shit. You know how the overseas shit is. Like, they like, yo, we gonna sign you in August. It was like the end of September. I'm like, bro, I'm talking to my agent. Like, I'm talking to him. I'm like, I don't, back then it's just like, you don't know, honestly, bro, like, you just kind of Google shit, or like, it was no like, let me go to this team Instagram page.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta wait.
Yeah.
So I was waiting, and while I'm waiting, my man B Hub got the job at Beth the Filler, the Jewish school up in Owens Mills.
Okay, gotcha.
So he was coaching there, the JV, and he was like, yo, just come up here and work out while you figure out what you're doing and coach with me. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I go up there coaching with him, and I start subbing up there. It's crazy, but it was cool, bro, because the kids just listened to everything we told them to do, because
right.
they just was like, you play where? You used to play college? So was up there with him, and then I just really had to like make a decision. I'm like, bro, like, and then at the time, to be honest with you, my older cousin who was helping me out a lot, when I was trying to navigate that whole space, you don't have no money because you ain't working.
Right.
You just playing ball. He was kind of like helping me out. He got locked up. So again, I'm like, I gotta figure something out, bro. I need some money.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into that shit. So I started subbing, and then I hit my coach up, Daryl Brooks, the one that recruited me from Loyola.
Yes.
At that time, he was coaching at GW, and I'm like, yo, I want to coach. You know anybody that got some jobs and shit? And he's like, yeah, let me call my brother-in-law. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm waiting, still waiting. I'm like, if something come up, then I'll just go with that basketball shit. So I moved to like kind of the DC area with this girl I was dating, and Daryl Brooks called me back, was like, yo, my brother, he got a position over at Montrose Christian coaching girls. You should go over there and meet with him. And I'm like, all right, fuck, whatever. I'm down this way, I need to do something. I need to get into this school, maybe get a job, whatever. So I go over there. Raymond Burke is the guy. He's a girls coach. We meet, we click right away. He like, bro, you don't need to coach my girls, you need to coach the boys. So I'm like, all right. And he's like, I'm gonna get you a meeting with Stu Vetter. So I'm like, all right. I kind of know Stu Vetter from Prospect Hall. I'm like, all right. And he's like, yo, they got a good team. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I called Stu Vetter. Stu Vetter called me back. He's like, I want you to meet with David Atkins. You can't, like, I'm busy. So David Atkins was like the guy that was right under him.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back up to school, meet with David Atkins. He like, yo, we chop it up. He one of them white dudes that's like solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking to him. He's like, no, we need somebody like you on this motherfucking staff. So there's all white guys on the staff. Yeah. So he like, we need somebody young, we need somebody black, we need somebody that can fuck with these kids. He's like, coming from out of college, you got new drills. I'm like, all right. So he's like, I'm gonna set you up and meet with Vetter now. So I meet with Vetter, I go in the Vetter office, bro. His office got all Jordan, like, it's just like all these players, like on the wall and shit. Him and Michael Jordan and shit, like him at all these camps and shit. I'm like, so this motherfucker, first thing Stu Vetter says, yeah, man, I hear good things about you. I can't pay you though. It's like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm be doing. He told me straight up, I can't pay you. And I'm like, all right. So he started bringing down like, yo, like we good. We could probably be number one in the country. High school basketball, we got a player on our team that's probably the number one, number two player in the country. And I'm like, all right. He's like, name Kevin Durant. I'm like, all right. He's like, but we got other players too. I'm like, all right. So they started naming off these dudes I never heard of them. I'm in Baltimore. I'm trying to play. So we go up into the gym. He's like, I'm gonna introduce you to some of them. We go up into the gym. And Montrose is different, man. It's like a private school, Jordan brand school. Basketball was the school. So they had different fundraisers throughout the year. So I walk into the gym and they all shooting free throws. It's a fundraiser going on. And I swear to God, bro, I'm watching this dude shoot free throws. I walk in, I'm like, this is big as shit. And these motherfuckers just shooting them off the backboard. Pop, pop on that. I'm like, who the fuck was that? Who's that? Yeah, that's KD. That's Kevin. Like, oh, all right. See other dudes, like, that's Gravis Vasquez. That's Tashi Ito. He's from Japan. So I'm like, and he's like, that's Isaiah Armwood. That's Terrell Vincent. They from Baltimore. They gonna be your guys. I'm like, oh, all right. So I just was like, so I went back and I went home. My chick at the time, I'm like, yo, I'm taking this shit. They told me they can't pay me. I don't give a fuck. Like, I gotta take this job. Boom. So I walked into a job, basically a coaching job. My first year, I'm coaching all these dudes, bro. And they looking at me and I'm like, young, I'm still hooping, shoot around, check up.
Get with them.
But then I got some drills, I can show them shit. So they gain respect for me. So after, like the way I kind of got into the whole training thing is that before practice, my job was to work with the guards. At the practice, they like, yo, I want to work. I'm like, all right, I want to work. Can you stay? I'm like, yeah. So I'm just doing that shit. And then one of the Dave Atkins like, yo, you should do that shit for some money. I'm like, all right. So that's kind of like, it gave me the confidence to be like, all right, well, how much to charge? He's like, don't worry about that right now. Just start getting some sessions. So he would give me some of his kids and I would work them out with some of our players. So you got these kids working out with Gravis Vasquez, Tashi Ito. So while they working out with these kids, and I'm sitting there like just learning shit too. And that's kind of what gave me the confidence to be like, oh, I can train anybody. Train pros to start.
Your first
high level Division I guys. So I'm like, it's like a whirlwind, bro. I'm telling you, I'm meeting things. I'm like Roy Williams in the gym. Like that's when coaches would just come sit. Mike Krzyzewski. Like I'm putting numbers in my phone. Like everybody that's a coach right now, probably they was assistants back then. Most of them, I knew all of them. So I'm like, I gotta get his number. He might give me a job one day. I had a thing where I was like, I want to get his number. So doing that, meeting all these coaches, I had Isaiah and Terrell. They was the top freshmen in the country. So then I'm traveling to these schools, taking them to every school.
That's so crazy. I didn't even know they was there together.
Yeah, they was there together. So, I'm coming back to Baltimore because they stayed down there.
Yeah.
We had a house. So every time on Friday, I'm coming back and bringing them back with me. We in the car talking. That's how we bond. Right. We lock in. They my guys to the day. Like me and Zeke like this. Right. It's like my little brother. Right. But we built that bond. I'm driving them to Villanova. I'm driving them to this school. I'm taking them summer. We going to this camp. And I'm meeting the Louisville staff. Everybody. So that shit was crazy. And then it was like, that just kind of took off. And then the next year I got a position at the school. And then I was there for 8-9 years. And so that first year kind of just took off. Then every year and we had pros.
You had Lennox Kleiser there as well, didn't you?
I missed Lennox. So I missed Lennox Kleiser. So the year I came after him.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think he was gone for 2 years before I got there. But he was like kind of the first, him and I think his name was Echefu.
I know you.
Them two was the big time guys, Lennox Kleiser and him. They were like Al Jordan guys.
Right.
So you were there, Terrence Ross went there?
Coach
Terrence
Ross.
Yeah.
Coach Terrence Ross, Justin Anderson.
He was so crazy.
The craziest part is the very first time we met Kevin Durant was that year you started coaching him.
Yeah.
We met Kevin Durant. We used to go to the run and shoot all the time out there. So he was out there working out. I think this was after season because he had already committed to Texas. But we met him out running and shooting. We was out there playing ball. And one of our boys played at AAU with one of his friends. So he was actually over there working out with him. So we actually got to go.
Oh yeah, he'll work out. That nigga work out 3 times a day. There.
The man had on some Jordan 3s, bro. Them joints was on the free throw line, bro. And the joints just looked like they got on.
I could tell you so many Nike stories. Nike, man, they followed us. They would be at our gym because they was trying to sign him. Bro, we went to the Springfield Hall of Fame Classic. We played, I forget who we played up there. Nike was up there. They brought this nigga like boxes of shit, bro. So at the, we done. We go back to the hotel, get our shit. We live out to leave. They like, yo, do room check. We go back, room check. I go in his room. This nigga got 3 boxes, Air Force Ones lined up. Right? Open them up. They full. I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck you? I take them downstairs to the lobby. Like, yo, what? why you leave these in the room? They like different Air Force Ones too, like patent leather, multicolors. I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't fit them in my bag. Nigga, tell one of us to put them in our bag.
All these bags.
But again, like nobody wore his size.
Right. True.
So he couldn't even really give them to his teammates. If I knew now they got them bitches to sign these, sign them. But yeah, I mean that's how much shit it was like. Nike was, they was on them.
I mean, from what you seen, like, was it immediate? Like, from what you saw, like, from.
Bro, I knew he was special. I mean, again, like people like you coached him, I coached him. I ain't develop. I mean, I put him through drills. I talked to him. I wasn't the one that developed that kid. He honestly, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure he got coaches that instilled in him all that stuff. But he just was a worker, bro. He would work with anybody. He would work anytime. So it's like, let's get some shots. All right, he working, and you see it. It's crazy because he still worked the same way now, bro. It's you watch kids, and you like, that motherfucker never got tired, bro. Like, why you tired? Like, so it's rare when you see people like that, bro. So to be able to say I was able to coach somebody like that, yeah, I can brag about that because he's a GOAT. Yeah, he's a GOAT. But again, like I coached so many other players that that are good players that had great careers, that are great men, that had positions in the front offices too. Yeah, I got a great relationship with dudes that I coach that coach now, train. All that shit, and again, if you think about it too, like that's just one part of it. I've been at Mount St. Joe for 13 years. So 12 years. So that's a whole nother array of talent, young men, pros, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, you know what I'm saying? So, I've been coaching almost 20 plus years now. Yep. So man, it's a part of my life.
What was your favorite team when you was at Montrose before we get to Mount St. Joe?
My favorite team, we won the national championship in 2011. That was probably my favorite team.
Who was on that team?
Man, we had our point guard was Tyrone Johnson. He went to Villanova. Our shooting guard was Justin Anderson. Our three-man was, I want to say, if it wasn't Ishmael Wainwright, who was it? Michael Carrera. He's a pro in Venezuela. He's from Venezuela. We had so many players. I don't know if the dude Kevin Larson started. Tyler Hubbard.
Oh my Lord. Can't forget
Tyler Hubbard was our shoot. He was our basically. So it was Tyrone at the point, Tyler at the 2, Justin at the 3, Michael Carrera at the 4, and Kevin Larson at the 5. We had a bunch of dudes coming off the bench that was really good, but it was a really good team. Yeah,
I was gonna say, what you think set that team apart?
Really good team, and we beat some really good teams, and we beat Oak Hill twice that year.
That's around the time they had
Quinn Cook. We beat Finley Prep, who was ranked number 1 in the country at the time. So we beat some really good teams. We lost like 1 game that year, but after we lost that game, we just like it made everybody tight. And then we had to play in that ESPN joint, and we ran through that joint. Not ran through it, but we won it.
So it's so crazy because it's like you grow up in Baltimore and you go from not traveling at all.
Been traveling
to
a basketball to
not being able to. How often did you guys play home?
At Montrose?
Yeah.
Not often. We would play smaller schools at home, but we traveled a lot to different. We went to Hawaii. I was there for 8 years. We went 4 times.
To Hawaii?
Yeah.
How are you digesting? Like, how is this?
We went to Japan. So I went to Japan my first year there. We went to Japan because of KD. Yeah. But we had a point guard on our team named Tashi Ito. He was big in Japan. Okay. So he came over. So it was kind of like we went over there, kind of toured everything where he grew up at. Played. KD didn't go, but we went over there and won the tournament. But again, like going to Japan, bro, that shit was amazing. It was eye-opening. It was like one of them things where when I went over there, I came back home, it was like, yeah, we kind of messed up over here.
Yeah, different.
It was totally different over there. Just the kids, the respect, how clean it was, how they took care of everything, the food. I was like, oh yeah, America, we
Tighten up.
got some work we gotta do, bro. But yeah, like just coaching, playing basketball, just I mean, it has gave me the ability to travel all across the world. I mean, as far as coaching, I've been kind of everywhere as far as high school tournaments. So, yeah. And every time, most time you travel, it's free.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah.
So, but I never really got into the AAU thing. It's just not my cup of tea.
Why's that?
Even when I got to Mount St. Joe, you know, one of the reasons why I took it because it was a good program. And, you know, Clatchy kind of had like a bubble around the program where it was just like we was able to coach. Parents didn't really have a huge influence in what we did. And I feel like AAU basketball is really heavily parent influenced. And I'm just, I know my lane. I know what I would, you know, love doing. And it's not talking to parents every day, and you know, parents trying to. You know, there's no loyalty with it. I think you play too many games. I mean, I could honestly, bro, I could go into a rabbit hole with this AAU thing, but I'm not gonna do that. But I just don't think it's been beneficial for the game of basketball overall.
Okay.
You've been blessed to coach alongside of some great head coaches.
Absolutely.
Clatchy alone,
Yep.
man. That guy right there is one of my favorite coaches I've seen. Like,
and both of them, the two coaches I coached under really was totally different. Totally different. Stu Vetter was more like stringent, you know, methodical with everything that we did. Everything was timed. Practices was structured. Everybody knew what the practice was. Everybody had a practice plan. The players knew. They would read the practice. They knew what color they wore, what team they was on. If they was the captain of a drill, everything was on the clock. If you ain't know, you can go to the score table and check what was next. So it was like that. And then when I got to Mount St. Joe, it was totally different. It was a little bit more chill, a little bit more laid back. But you can't be like, why you don't do it like that when you still win?
yeah.
So it was just two different things. And I learned from, you know, I'm still learning from Clatchy, but I took a lot from that. And then kind of like tried to bring a little bit of it to Mount St. Joe. But it's totally two different programs. You know, we don't recruit kids from out of the country at Mount St. Joe. We don't have a house. You know, most of our talent is from here, and we have to develop it. So it's totally different. So the stuff that I learned at Montrose, you know, coming into the situation at Mount St. Joe, I had to we have to heavily develop kids. I took a lot of that stuff and used it at Mount St. Joe.
Right. What ultimately made you choose Mount St. Joe? Was there other schools?
It was other schools that I talked to that wanted me to come on their staff when I got back to Baltimore. But again, I felt like that was the closest thing. One, I felt like I could still learn from him.
Right.
And two, I felt like it was the most stable program at the time. You know, I talked to my cousin Howard. That's Justin Jenifer. That's Justin's father. Clatchy recruited Justin, so they had a good relationship. He didn't get Justin, but he still stayed in contact with Howard. He knew I was coming back. He reached out to Howard like, yo, your cousin, what are you gonna do next year? Is he gonna coach? You think he would wanna, you know, sit down and talk? So Howard called me and was like, yo, Clatchy wanna rap to you about maybe getting on staff. And I was like, all right. I mean, that's a pretty good program. So I started asking around a little bit, met up with Clatchy, and was like, it's not too far from where I live at. You know, I can still kind of, you know, it can still be beneficial to my business by me coaching here. Yeah. So it was kind of, and they was winning, and they had some good talent. That's when I came my first year. They had Phil Booth, Jalen Adams.
So you came at a really good time.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been blessed, bro. I come into programs at the right time. Phil was God, bro. I'm telling you, like, my first year, is like we had 3 really, really good guards, but we had a good team, and we won everything. So I'm sitting there like, oh, this is crazy. I never did I think this is me. Because before I got to Montrose, they was winning. Before I got to St. Joe, they was winning. So it was just like, I'm like, I can just bring a valuable piece to whatever they doing, and hopefully I can take it to a whole nother level. You know, at Montrose, it was more so I'm just trying to fit in.
Yeah. And
then as I, you know, went along, my voice, you know, it meant more. But as soon as I got to Mount St. Joe, I was like, nah, yeah, you gonna respect me.
Yeah. I mean,
when I tell you, you're gonna listen.
You had been around the barn at that point.
Yeah,
You had
so-
seen the apex of what it could be as a player. So,
and a lot of those kids at Mount St. Joe, not saying that but they, them programs like Montrose, like they look at those programs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I was there for 9-8 years, bro.
yeah.
I know what it takes.
I know what it takes. I know what it takes to beat those type of teams. I know what it takes. So, been with Classy for 12 years now. We've beat some great teams. We Malvern Academy,
Yes.
#1 team in the country. Cooper Flag, all those guys. We beat them. We've been able to win a lot of championships, man. A lot of championships. Win a lot of games. I know in the years I've been there, I won't say in the last. I'll just say not including this past year. The last 3 years, we averaged like 36 wins a year.
Yeah, it's tough.
Won like 6 championships. So. I mean,
man, you see me I be at a lot of them games.
Yeah, you do.
I be at a lot of the high school games. And one of the reasons why Clatchy is one of my favorite coaches, you could kind of see the passion that he has for the game on the sideline. Like, he be in. I love coaches like that.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love to see the fire, like, coach fired up about, I could play for somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not even all the extras. Not even all. We ain't even gonna get into all the extras.
Cried about
Now,
that.
that is, you know
I
what
cried
I'm
about
saying?
that, because I ain't even see it. I just had people say stuff to me like, "Yo, what's up with him, bro? Like, what you talking about?" And I saw it, I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
He was charged up.
it's so funny, man. Like, I don't even know, but I had a conversation with Nick Miles right after that game about that, man. He's like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" And like me and Nick, cool, man. Like, he came up in the Oliver program, so we've always had a great relationship, man. Like, outside of the rivalry,
St. Francis.
I have a lot of respect for him. So he pulled me up as a man. Like, come on, yo.
Yeah, what is going on
And I said, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, that went a little too far.
It's not a good look. I said, but yo, like we had a tough year last year. So I'm like, bro, we was just so happy to win that game, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it meant something to us. So he's like, I get that, but it's just not. I said, yo, it is. So I said, what I'll do is I'll holler at Clatchy. So I hollered at Clatchy. Yo, I think you might want to holler at Nick. Holler at Nick. They kind of, so we all good. We all good at that point. But yeah, man, it's like, I'm like, I saw it, I was like, bruh. Twice though? I'm like, one time, like, he's done it before, bro.
Yeah.
But he do it like at the stands, like it's like a good shot. Wow.
Yeah.
But he like, I saw the video, he's like facing that team. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
And twice, Nick like, nah, we ain't, come on, let's go. We out. I'm like, bruh. I don't blame you.
Motion running high, you know what I'm saying? Hey.
But like,
rivalry.
I think we have a ton of respect for what they do, bro. Like their program, and we know every time we play them, it's gonna be a tough game. Every time we coach against Nick, it's gonna be one of them battles. So it's nothing but respect, and that's probably why because we used to winning.
Yeah. Man.
But obviously to beat them in that capacity, in that moment, and how it happened, I think we all got caught up in the moment.
Yeah, hey.
So, I mean, it's a part of it. It's a part. It was never nothing disrespectful to them. Got a lot of respect for them.
Definitely, man. It's like, again, emotions running high, make you black
It's
out.
a part of it, man.
That's a part.
You put a lot into it, man. Every day, them practices, man. Like,
Oh man, yeah.
you put a lot into it. So when you, especially when you don't have a lot go well for you and you used to it,
Yeah.
when they finally do that in that year.
No, I totally got that when you said it.
Like,
Yep.
so it's like, and like BJ said in one of the interviews, he missed a couple game winning shots throughout the year. So he finally hit one. So it's like,
That was a cold one.
yeah, it was tough.
Man. Oh,
It was one of the toughest shots. I've seen some shots. I've seen the best shot buzzer beater was probably Adrian Bowie when we played Oak Hill.
Oh, I forgot he was there too.
That was, they called that game the Pro Show.
Yeah.
They had Nolan.
Oh yeah.
They had Mike
BJ.
Beasley.
Oh, did BJ was there?
No,
too?
they had Mike Beasley.
yeah.
They had Todd Lawson.
Oh, my
They
Lord.
had Jeff. Is his name not Jeff Allen? Bro, they was stacked. But we had KD. We were stacked too.
They came on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
It went down to the buzzer, and
Yep.
KD took a shot, and Adrian rebounded and put it back.
Yeah.
That was like what the fuck.
That was standing room only wall to wall. And
That was the first game. Honestly, I think that was one of the first high school games streamed.
Yeah, I was ready to say,
It's
because
on YouTube. Yeah, for sure,
First
man.
one, the dude. I remember the dude coming through, like talking about money and all that shit. Like, it was the first game that was really, like, high school game that was streamed.
Man, so I got a question for you, right? I know you coach Kevin Durant. You just named another phenom on the other side. Who do you think was better at the time between him and Michael Beasley? At that time,
KD.
KD?
Because, I mean, with Mike, he wasn't a guard. Like, KD could post you up, bring the ball down. He would just, man, I saw this motherfucker throw the ball backboard to himself, dunk that shit in the game. I was like, what the fuck?
Man.
But Mike Beasley was,
Listen.
he touched the ball, it was probably going in. Like, he had his touch around the basket.
It was crazy.
Lefty, made it look so easy.
The first time I seen Michael Beasley, I was at a basketball tournament he was playing in, and we was at Oxford Hill, I think.
Yep.
And they was playing the game before y'all game or on the other side of the court, right? All I know is I see a dude come up, throw this joint up, put his hand on the side of the backboard, dunk this joint. I'm like, yo, who is that?
Still in high school.
Man said, yo, that's Michael Beasley. He a senior this year. I said, what?
Bro, he was different, bro. He was,
Grown man.
so that year, he was younger than them.
Yeah.
So he was only a junior. But he was so good, though. All them dudes, man. It just was like, I was just watching talent.
But
I was just like,
at that time, the basketball talent in the state of Maryland is still great now. But that era right there, come on, man. That's
gonna be enough.
The DMV is a
oh,
whole.
it's gonna be another.
Because you gotta remember, like, even during that time, it was like Scotty Reynolds. Like,
we played against his school, Herndon.
y'all played against Herndon?
We played against Herndon.
He scored like, didn't he score like 2,000 something points? in high
He had
school?
like 33 against us. We beat him, obviously, but he was really good.
Yo, he was nice.
The Loyola legend.
Yeah, he was
For
definitely
sure.
nice. Definitely nice. Man, what's kind of like the biggest lesson that you learned in coaching from each one of the coaches that you've been with? Because obviously, like you said, you were under two, kind of, you know, I mean, if not the biggest, I mean, two big names around the way. Like,
Yeah.
what is the biggest lessons that you think you learned from them?
I would say I've learned probably from both different things. Stu Vetta, you know, the structure of everything, how important that is in the business side of basketball. I learned a lot. I watched him do his camps. I worked his camps, took his formula, did my camps the same way. Clatchy, more so, you know, the in-game stuff, being prepared, allowing your best players to be your best players. You know, down there we have a lot of good players, but it's just different. It's just totally different. So the structure, the discipline, you know, kind of with that. This side over here was a little bit different, more so the in-game stuff, and how important development is, because we didn't always get the best players to come to Mount St. Joe, but we there every year, you know. So it's that being able to get guys to be a team, you know, seeing guys go play JV, maybe 2 years, but then have an impact as a senior. That's why I was like, man, this shit really worked. Like the development part, like the program part of it, like having a good freshman team, having a good JV, and it does equate to success long term, you know, if you do it the right way on the lower levels and not just always like try to get transfers and you have a good team 1 year and then 3 years down and then they seniors again, then you have a good year. It's like consistently having good years every year by talent that's you develop. Yeah, and just getting them to buy into the program.
What's the biggest lesson that you try to instill in the kids that you've coached over the years?
You can always do more. You can always be doing more. And you feel like, oh, I worked out twice a day. Okay, that's fine. And what you eating? That's even more. You know, are you stretching? You know, are you taking care of your body? Are you resting? You know, a lot of kids don't rest enough. That's why they don't grow.
Right.
It's like all these kids got Osher slaughters, it's like growing pains, this and that. I'm like, I never even heard of that shit up until recently. You know what I'm saying? So it's just slept in the summertime. You see a nigga 3 months later in school start, you like, damn, bro, you grew. I'm telling parents, I'm like, yo, let your kids sleep in the summertime. Like I get them up at 5, I do this, I do that. I'm like, you know, so just that, man. Just you can always do more. Like you're a shooter, you can always learn how to dribble better. You know, you just a guard that can dribble and finish. You can develop that jump shot. You just gotta do more. You know, so if you think you're doing enough, do more.
No, that's real shit though.
And that can apply to life.
Facts.
Period. That can apply to life.
Content,
Not just
man. Being
basketball,
content
it
is
can apply to life.
that's a bad disease.
Absolutely.
Contentment. You know, I'm cool, I'm comfortable. That's not good. If anything that we do in life, you know, we you know, we as individuals, you know, humans, that's what we comfortable. Comfort is good. Shit feel good. You know, I can pay all my bills. I'm cool. But you know, you want to ever do something better. You want something bigger.
Right.
So you can't be comfortable, man. So it's always more to do.
Now, coaching wise, you've been one of the top assistants for a couple of the top programs in the area. Do you have any aspirations of becoming a head coach? And would you step outside of private to do so, or would you want to stay in private?
That's a tough question, but at the moment, I've thought about it a lot. It would take a lot for me to be a head coach, meaning building a program the way I would want to build it. And to be honest with you, I don't have the time.
Okay.
I like the position I'm in. You know, I'm able to assist great guys, be a part of great, you know, programs, you know, the previous and the program I'm in, be around great kids, not really have to deal with the other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the parents, you know, the school stuff, you know, school telling you can't get this kid in that you really like, you know, stuff like that. And just the management of a program, you know, I just feel like today it's like no loyalty with the kids. You can't really get a kid as a ninth grader, find him, develop him, and he stay with you for 4 years. You know, so I think I've missed my mark. I mean, my time to, if I was going to do it, and not in a bad way. It's just like I think that's past me. I'm not chasing wins. You know, if I become a head coach, it's like if I coach for 10 years, I average 20. That's 200 wins.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's not even. So to me, it's not a big deal to me. I've won enough games. I've seen enough great players. I've seen enough great games. I've made coaching decisions in these games, so that matters. So my it's not an ego thing or a pride thing where like I need my name to be on. People respect me.
Right.
You know, people know what I've done, the contributions I've made to this city, as far as basketball, the kids I've developed in this area. So, in the most humblest way, I'm cool.
That's for real. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Did you have any questions before I moved on to the last couple?
Yeah.
I mean, this could be involved with that. It's just interesting quick hitters for me.
I just got a quick, like you said, it's probably such quick hitters. Who's the best Jenifer?
That's my first question.
Who's the best Jenifer?
Who's the best one? And I'm gonna tell you. No, I'm gonna let you go first, then I'll tell you the story. First off, if you can name all of the contestants that we have in here that you are gonna put on the list.
Yeah, you will put in the
I'll say
contest.
the ones.
Or you can name the top.
Because it's some Jenifers that like it's probably like further down the line, but like the ones that's tight, me, Anton, Keefe, and Justin. It's tough because I mean it's all been different careers. So if you're talking about career, I would probably say Justin. Because his success in, you know, being from 9 years old and being able to kind of sustain that success and play in all these tournaments and camps and get invited. None of us, I mean, other than Keefe, none of us got from that age, got the publicity, and had to deal with all that shit that come with it for so long and try to appease so many people. You know, we just was like, I know for me and Anton, we just killers. We just try, you know, who we playing against. You know, for him, it's cameras, interviews, a standard from us that was set. You know, we at the games, you know what I'm saying? So pressure and like career-wise and going to Cincinnati, graduating from Cincinnati, having a good team there, playing an integral part in what they did, I probably would say probably him.
That's
he stayed
career-wise.
there.
That's
yeah,
career-wise.
like, you know, like.
Well, let's just
Nah,
talk
we ain't
about
talking.
all
Yeah, that's
y'all
the
go
I'm
to
talking about the summertime.
Yeah.
Check the ball
Go
up.
to the rec and
if
all
we
y'all in
all
y'all
the same
prime.
age,
Y'all in y'all
Yes.
prime.
Check
we
the
all
ball
the
up.
same age. What age?
We gonna say.
Let's say 18.
That's
There
what I'm
you
saying.
go.
All y'all prime. I mean,
I'm gonna say me. I'm gonna
you
say
for
me.
sure.
I'm gonna say me. I'm gonna say me. But it's gonna be hard as shit to guard all of them.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say me. I'm gonna say me. Me and Anton never played 1-on-1. Me and Justin never played. Me and Keith never. None of us never played 1-on-1.
Damn,
Never.
that's wild.
Yeah. Never. And we wanted to end it for a reason.
Yeah.
We probably never end.
Yeah, there you go. Or in a wrestling match or something, it probably wouldn't end.
We love each other too much, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, even if it did happen, we still would love each other after this shit, but it's different ages.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, other than just for that reason, there's really no point. You fuck them up. You
Yeah.
fuck them up.
Yeah.
You better fuck them up.
Yeah.
So, I'm fucking up whoever in my era.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yours.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
And that's why I think that's why that name has been able to be sustainable, because we took care of what we supposed to in our eras.
Sure. Man, Justin, I don't even know how old he was, but he was young. This is 2010.
They came out of St. Mary's.
Yeah. You was there, so you was there.
I brought
You
him.
ran the camp, right?
I brought him.
No, I think you ran that
I
day camp
did.
or something, right?
I
Yeah.
spoke at the camp. I ran all the
Bro,
drills. Yeah.
I'm down this joint skipping labs to shoot shots.
Yeah.
I know my jumper's straight. He coming there, we doing a little shooting drill, right? So it's a contest. I don't even know how old Justin was.
Elbows. We did elbows. We would do everything. So man, listen, bro. I brought him down there for 4 years straight.
Yeah.
So I would take him to different camps, speak, and then let him like demonstrate the drills. Kids are like, what the fuck?
Bro, he beat me in the shooting contest.
Yeah, he was
Shooting
talented.
college threes. And he couldn't have been like, bro, he was like young. Like young.
We used to go down to the Wizards game. Bro, they had this thing called "Can You Beat a Fifth Grader?" Like, you know, it was a show out.
Yeah.
They had something. It was like an academic show.
It was Are You Smarter Than Fifth
Are you
Grade?
smarter than a fifth grader?
Yeah.
They had "Can You Outshoot a Fifth Grader?" And they would call people out. He would be down one end. They would be down one end, and they would be shooting from the free throw line, catch, shoot, minute on the clock. We did that shit like 3 times. I was like, well, what the fuck is going on?
Bro, he's different. Like,
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it was just a lot, man, with him. So compared to the other ones, it just was like from day one. Like his father gave him the ball, started out with him, then he was like, "Look, man, I need help. Help out."
yeah.
So I kept him. You know, I would take him down to Montrose, keep him around all them dudes. He knew all them dudes.
Yeah.
And that was when he was 10, 11, when he was taking off. You know, on the little YouTube shit. They wanted him to be around. So that experience was great for him. So me being there, that shit just all worked out, man.
For sure.
That shit just all worked out.
Couple more real quick. Who do you think is, or who is your top 5 from Baltimore?
Oh, man.
I know it's an extensive list, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I think a lot of people lose in translation the amount of great players and careers that came from Baltimore. And you're at a point where you can kind of bridge the gap because you know a lot of the older demographic and you've seen, developed, coached, and been around and competed against the new age group. So
That's tough, man.
do you think you could think of a top 5 off the top for you? It doesn't have to be, you know, whatever, just for you.
So I would say the top 5 that influenced me. That's what I would probably say. So I would probably say Shantae Rogers. I would say Mike Lloyd. I mean, this is the people I watched. I watched. So my cousin Anton. Kevin Simpson. We got one more. Who the fuck? I had so many fucking good players. I mean, it's tough, bro.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
fifth one, like, that's tough, man. I don't want to say somebody, then I'll be like, ooh, I forgot, yo. Man, there's so many dudes that influenced us. Probably Johnny Hemsley. Because he was like a unicorn back then, like that 6'7" shoot wing in high school. It was tough. It was like watching him, I was just like, but he literally like watching Shantae Rogers, bro, like that shit was amazing. Like I was in awe. I watched play defense, how he scored so easy. I was just like, how the fuck? I was in awe, and to be able to watch him as much as I did, you know, he made defense look cool. So it's like, you gotta play defense.
Yeah, for sure.
That shit cool. Like, niggas get steals at half court, that shit cool.
Yeah.
You know, that shit, it's not as cool now, but. So, I would say, yeah, those 5, but it's tough, man. Because it's like 5 that people, it's like some dudes you watch, like they don't even play, like high school or like neighborhood dudes. You know what I'm saying? But those are my 5.
No, that's a good 5, bro. An influential 5 is always good. You kind of see a piece of all of them in your game, so it's definitely very telling for sure. I covered all the ground, man. I wanted to honestly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, from the beginning, you actually again beat me to most of my questions. But again, I just wanted to tell you, bro, like face to face, man to man, you're one of the most respected players that I've ever played against, witnessed playing.
Appreciate that, bro.
I really respect your basketball mind and the passion that you got for coaching and then what you bring to the game as far as training. I've watched you over the years, obviously since I don't even know when we've been around each other for so long, you know what I mean? But just from afar and then even up close and having a relationship with you, bro, you're just one of the most stand-up guys.
Appreciate that,
man. I really appreciate you knocking out this interview, man.
No
I wish
problem,
you
bro.
nothing but the best.
Yes. Appreciate you having me.
Go ahead and get you $1 million flip in one of the cribs.
I'm gonna keep trying,
success, bro. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna keep trying, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Damien Jenifer, appreciate you coming through, man.
Appreciate it.
Free podcast. First choice. You already know. I'm gonna make sure I put the handle in there so you can follow my man.
Absolutely.
Support him in any way you can.
Appreciate it, y'all.
All right, man. I'll holler at y'all.
Peace.